Well, I'm currently stood in a field and I'm carless. So, quite simply, what is the next steps? Well, I thought, now I haven't got a car, why don't I do a project series of the car, but also something a little bit more substantial for everyday viewing. So I set myself the challenge to find the world's most functional car. Functional meaning it could do everything from off-road, to track, to towing and pulling and carrying stuff, and all the rest. And it was this simple for me to find what I was looking for by following to these 3 steps. The vehicle had to be a car, i.e. probably an estate. Little hint, throw it out there. It's going to be the most practical, but there's more to come on that as the series progresses. 2, it needs to be all-wheel drive, because obviously you can't really do off-road very well and do most of the stuff very well without it. And 3, a tow bar, but realistically a tow bar could be found on any car pretty much that's ever been made. But it was something to add to the quota. So without further ado, we're going to get out of this stinky field and we're going to get back down to the house. We're going to jump on the laptop, we're going to look at some cars, and we're going to go make a deal. My budget is £5,000. And I'm hoping for that, we can find the most functional car ever. Literally the world's most functional car. And I'm going to set a ton of challenges for myself and other people, followers, YouTubers, anyone else that wants to join in on these series. All of my little challenges, you're all welcome to come and join and do. And that's going to be everything from MPG to towing something, to potentially taking that towed thing off-road, to carrying an insane amount of stuff, obviously off-roading against proper off-road vehicles, track use featuring someone very special over in Europe, MPG runs, because obviously you need to know how economical something is. You know, we can't get an all-rounder that's really bad on fuel, so we're going to be doing a long-distance run, which is pretty much going to be impossible. So that's going to be another fail. And basically, all I'm going to say is stay tuned, because I'm trying to jump up with the channel, get it moving with a new series and something that you're all going to really enjoy. So let's get back to the house, let's search for some cars, and let's see what we can find in our budget that hopefully isn't a total shitbox.
Right then guys, so I'm back and we're going to be using Auto Trader first of all, because I feel like Auto Trader is somewhat reliable. You don't really get too many crashed or dodgy cars on there. Well, as to the best of my knowledge, is all I can say. So as you can see now, I'm going to throw my phone screen here next to me. As you can see, we've narrowed it down by putting a price of 5,000. We've used the body type estate because I've decided, as I've already said earlier in this video, the estate car is going to be the optimum car to do everything. It just is. There's no argument. There's no better variation of a car to do everything. And then the only other thing I've put in there is all-wheel drive. Now here's a weird thing I'm going to show you. So if we just configure those 2 options, so £5,000 and an estate, it gives us, as you can see, roughly 3,000 cars, but there's actually only 129 cars in that category for all-wheel drive, which is crazy. So let's have a little click and have a look. So the first car coming up, the XC90, Swedish, strong choice. But there are quite interesting things, as you can see, like the Skoda Scout, which is basically an Octavia. I think it's a variant of the Octavia, the Scout. Which is a Haldex system. Funnily enough, the XC70, you can see there's also a Haldex system. Now here's a weird one. The Jaguar X-Types, right? I've been looking at these, okay? And you can only get the all-wheel drive ones in the 3-litre V6 petrol, which is a fruity engine. Fruity. But the only problem with that is that you can only get pre-facelift, and the facelift's just such a better car. But there's 2 distinguishable differences with the all-wheel drive system on those, right? And that one would probably be too new. So this one is actually quite nice. It's actually really nice. Very low mileage as well. So basically, if you get one that's past 2004, they basically use an open differential and an electronically actuated rear and front diff, which doesn't really work. I've watched the videos on YouTube, I'll stick one in here now, of a test done on one of those, and you can just see they're just useless. The all-dry system is basically useless. But in the pre-2004, they had a viscous style rear and front diff, so technically like an LSD front and rear. So here's a video of one on there. As you can see, they go nicely in the snow. This one here is very nice. 4.5 grand, so it's under budget, 77,000 miles, 2006. It is black, which I think is just a colour of a car that really no one wants. And I have had black before, but I didn't really have a choice. It's one of those cars that, you know, black's just not the colour. Now, black on black is quite a good interior. And actually, in all fairness for this, I'm trying to steer away from the creaminess, because creaminess is going to be messiness, and messiness is not good for something that's going to be used for going off-road. So, yeah, I can't really see myself going for the X-Type. Now, I love it, automatic, comfortable, beautiful, but I just don't think there's many options in terms of lifting them and ground clearance for off-road, so I'm not really too sure. So let's look at some of the other options. So the A6, I would obviously go, there's an Avant here, but I would go for the all-road, so that's definitely an option. I'm going to probably book and see a few of the Audis. A4s and A6 all roads, because obviously I've just come from an Audi and I enjoy them, so we won't be going past those. Subaru Legacy, that is the fat ugly one, which came in later life, which wasn't anywhere near as good looking as the first and second generation. That one's really, I mean, what the hell are those wheels? That's really poor spec. Yeah, we've got a tow bar though, but it just looks way too big for those wheels. Cloth interior, not when you're paying £5,000. Here's the thing with cloth, right? Normally it means no spec, you know, no heated, no electric. In this case there is electric, but it also means when you're getting messy, it just holds onto it rather than, you know, you can just wipe it off with leather. So I think leather is one. Now here's one of the ones that's been tickling me for ages, is the Passat All-Track. These are DSG as well, so just a little bit newer, just past 2012 time, so they are DSG box. All the other sort of VAG variants are ZF 6-speeds, which again are not bad, but it would be my first car with DSG. It hasn't got a tow bar, I don't think. Yeah, so really I want to buy something out of the box with a tow bar, which is a bit annoying. But they are good looking, I must say. And actually, when we can find a photo of the inside, yes, it's pretty nice. It's pretty decent. What the hell have they done to those chairs? It hasn't got a photo of the chairs, but they look like yeah. So that's the problem with these, is the spec is not very good, and I'm quite fond of good spec, so especially coming from the A8, which is a self-inflicted problem there. Another Octavia Scout, Outback. I don't know, what else is there about? We've seen the same cars now, so let's just flick up onto here and go onto the models of car. Let's have a look. So, Alfa do one, apparently. BMW do one in my price range, apparently. We'll have a look at that. Saab. Interesting. We've seen this go to Vauxhall, apparently. Vauxhall. Maybe that's the Insignia, maybe. And we've seen Volvo. So the Alfa is a 159, 3.2 JTS LUSSO V6. Beautiful. As you can see, beautiful car. It's very cheap. It's also very low miles. Vehicle sold as an ongoing project. That'd be why. It's just quite cheap. It's very under budget. It's very under budget, but there's lots of stuff he's doing. There's no photos of anything else, which isn't really very ideal. And also, it's gorgeous, the 159, right? But in terms of off-road credibility, and off-road's going to be a lot of the stuff for the testing we're doing as well, by the way. A lot of the challenges are going to be sort of off-roady related. I don't see that being the best of options, although it's really tickling my mind just to have a V6 powered estate. Bit of Italian spice. It does sound good. But what we'll do is we'll quickly look at the other options, and then I'm probably going to call a few people and see where we can go from there. So the BMW. Okay, fair enough. So I don't know why it's so cheap. I wouldn't have thought that would be in my price bracket. But we have a 13 plate 3 Series estate, but it's an X-Drive, so that's why it's just tickling in there. It's crazy to think because, you know, a 13 plate X-Drive 3 Series you would think is, you know, a new car or a modern car, or is a modern car. But once I say is, you wouldn't think the 13, you know, a 13 plate is over 10 years old now. So it doesn't look 10 years old. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's cloth interior. Ugh. But what do you expect at this price range, an all-wheel drive BMW estate? You know, you ain't gonna get much. So don't expect to get much from a BMW anyway. The modern stuff in terms of spec is pretty poor, unless you actually spec it up from factory or you go for a hot version of it. It's quite poor. So yeah, I never knew you could spec so much tyre wall on a BMW. That's quite a bit of tyre wall, that. Chunky. I've got something in my hair, probably a spider from earlier when I was in the field. And yeah, we'll just have a look at the others. So Saab, right, I know what this is going to be. The 93X, okay? So there's two distinguishable things to know about the 93X, right? And they are very cool. There's two things. So they did a diesel and a petrol. The petrol was the actual all-wheel drive variant, all singing, all dancing, lifted, all the rest of it. I'll show you. Beautiful, very rare. 2 litre petrol. They use the basically the one below the VXR. So it's not the Z20 LET. It's the Z20 ZET, I think, or something similar. So basically, it's the most reliable 2 litre petrol they used, and that's mated only to a 6-speed manual. And they're a 2 litre turbo. And they're 110 brake, and they tune almost up to about 300. So they're quite a beast. What they are, as you can see, this one's in a lovely grey. The either already came in the grey or the white. There was a few other colours in between, I think, but the grey and the white were the main colours. And that was a 4-wheel drive one. Now, if you end up getting a diesel one, they did a 1.9 diesel. They only came in front-wheel drive, so you lose all of the smart Haldex system. You lose all of the benefits of having. You still get the lifted height and the cladding on the body, but realistically, you have to make sure you go for a petrol. It's just very nice. It's actually very nice. It's really nice, actually. It's just nice. And actually, I was looking for a diesel, really. It hasn't got a tow bar. Excellent. I've clicked the wrong button. So guys, the final car, or the final manufacturer, was Vauxhall, and I was indeed correct. So on the screen now, you are going to see Vauxhall Insignias. Now these would actually be very decent for road and track use. Good engine selection, all decent sized engines. Even the 2 litres are twin turbo diesel. They do the 2.8 petrol. So yeah, lots of selection as you can see here, and they're quite nice to look at actually. And they are 4-wheel drive, but again, I feel like with estate, I've definitely got something in my hair. I feel like with all-wheel drive estates, they're sort of aided towards 2 types of all-wheel driveness. Yeah, that's not even a word, but we'll say it. So they're either designed to be all-wheel drive and quick estates, or all-wheel drive and off-roadable estates. And unfortunately, again, I think the Insignia, like most of them, like the Alfa, sit into that category, which is rather a shame. I guess black, but they do look good, and they all have quite large rims, which really give the car a nice offset. It has got a tow bar though. It does look quite nice for twin exhaust, so that's quite nice. Oh, wood interior, premium. It's very good spec actually. Oh, it's really good spec. What the hell are those lights? That is so weird. It's where there's this new thing they're doing on cars now where they build the light into the actual car, so when the boot's open you can still see the light, but it just looks really odd. Oh, that just looks weird to me. Today, I don't know if I like that, but pretty decent sized boot. 6-speed auto, I would imagine. 2.8 turbo. It's actually quite good. The spec's actually really decent. For Vauxhall, which has been known for being quite a cheap brand, and their build quality being quite cheap, it's quite premium, although the wood isn't really a very good look in a Vauxhall, I must say. It should be carbon fibre. You know, a little bit of the chav with a Vauxhall should be there, which it isn't in this case. But it does look well spec'd. Oh, it's got like a sports mode as well, look at that. Not bad, but again, unfortunately, we could take it off-road, but I don't see it doing that well. So there we are, we've looked at the options, and I'm now, as you can see, heading up to Bristol to go and jump in with Josh and go and look at cars. So we are going to go out for the day, go and find something, and then we will reveal the results in the next episode of this series. So guys, thank you for watching this first episode on the world's most functional car. And you will see me next week in the video showing you what functional car I have bought. Because it is going to be the world's most functional car, obviously. And we're going to walk and talk about all of its functions, why I bought it, how much I paid, and all that sort of stuff. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this first episode, and there's many more to come. See you in the next one.